do. Okay. Hey there. Thanks. Oh, they are. So this hearing, he's going to make a statement. If there's no questions, then we just vote. Okay. All right.
Good morning and welcome to the New York City Council vote of the Committee on Rules, Privileges, and Elections. At this time, can everybody please silence your cell phones? At this time going forward, no one is to approach the dais. I repeat, no one is to approach the dais. Chair, we are ready to begin.
Good morning and welcome to the meeting of the Committee on Rules, Privileges, and Elections. I'm Councilmember Keith Powers, Chair of the committee. Before we begin, I'd like to introduce the other members of this committee who are present. We're joined by Speaker Adrian Adams, Council Members Brannan, Farias, Ayala, Hudson, and Brewer. I also want to acknowledge, and we'll be joined, I think, shortly by others. I'd also like to acknowledge the Committee Counsel, Jeff Campagna, and the committee staff that worked on the appointments that we heard today, Chief Ethics Counsel Pearl Moore, Director of Investigations Francesca Della Vecchia, and Deputy Director of Investigations Alicia Vassa. Today we'll be holding a public hearing regarding the New York County Democratic Committee's recommendation of Mark Landis for appointment to the Board of Elections. We will then vote on that matter and the candidates we heard at our April 1st meeting. By a letter dated March 28, 2025, and pursuant to Section 3204 of the New York State Election Law, the Secretary of the New York County Democratic Party filed with the Clerk of the Council its recommendation of Mark Landis for appointment as a Commissioner of the New York City Board of Elections to serve the remainder of a 4-year term that expires on December 31st, 2026. I want to note for the record, it is exceedingly rare this committee considers candidates recommended by the Democratic and Republican parties for membership of the Board of Elections. The New York State law provides that members of the council of each party have the power to appoint their candidates to the board without interference from members or of the other political party. That process takes at least 30 days. However, this situation is unique because of the timing of the primary election cycle in which members of the Board of Elections will decide petition challenges. Because of that, we cannot leave a seat vacant until the Democratic Conference is able to act. Therefore, pursuant to Section 3-204 of the New York State Election Law and Rule 10.60 of the Rules of the Council, I'm now opening a public hearing on this recommendation. Mr. Landis, you can please join us at the dais. Please raise your right hand to be sworn in.
Do you affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this committee and in answer to all council member questions?
I so affirm.
Thank you.
I'll recognize you to make a statement.
Thank you. Good morning, Madam Speaker, Chairman Powers, and council members. Yes, the red light's on. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Good morning, Madam Speaker, Chairman Powers, council members. My name is Mark Landis. It's my privilege to be here before you today to tell you a bit about myself and seek your approval to become the next Manhattan Democratic Commissioner of the Board of Elections. I am a 40-year Democratic Party activist, committed always to expanding voting opportunity, and this is a place where I hope that working with you and other legislators that I will be able to continue to build on that kind of work from the inside as opposed to just from the outside. I also know that there's a lot of work ahead in terms of administering elections. The laws change frequently, and I look forward to working with colleagues both in government and the volunteers who make up such an important part of the process to ensure that everybody has all the tools they need and all the resources they need to be able to ensure that we have an open and fair voting system. And as a longtime attorney and also the managing partner of a medium-sized law firm, I bring administrative and managerial experience that I hope will enable me to work with my colleagues at the board to find ways in which the board can work most effectively. My litigation before the Board of Elections, of course, will come to an end. I am not a frequent litigator there. I'm particularly proud of two pro bono matters that I've worked on in the last few years. One, to restore voting rights to a federal prison releasee under the CARES Act, to ensure that they would have the same rights as New York State prisoner releasees would do. And excited to see that the state is making that information known to prisoners as they are released, and hopefully we can use some moral suasion on the federal government to do the same over time. And I've worked closely with Common Cause and the Black Institute in looking to challenge the approval of election machines at the state level that don't meet the kinds of tests that we want to see in terms of verifiable voter trails. I've served as a Democratic Party district leader for 20 years and now as a member of the Democratic State Committee for the last 6 years. I also work closely with interfaith organizations to promote democratic and small d democratic and progressive values, both locally and worldwide. So I thank you for your consideration, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have for me.
Thank you. Any questions to begin?
Not questions, but just to second what I think others know, which is that Mark Landis, I think many of us have known him for a long time. I'm fortunate to work for him because I am the council member for the district, and I just want to say that he is eminently qualified. And what's particularly great about Mark Landis is he keeps in touch with people, so that those of us who are interested in this topic, he will be glad to answer questions and make sure that we know what the issues are at the Board of Elections. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a few questions. I noted the sort of unique circumstances by which the timing is, and I think we all feel the urgency to fill a empty seat with election cycle fully underway. You're a state committee member today, is that correct?
Yes.
There will be challenges to petitions and other conversations in the coming weeks. Are you a signer of any petitions that would appear at the Board of Elections?
Did I sign
or a
any
witness or a signer of any petitions that would appear at the board?
I did sign a petition and I did witness a petition. The only signatories on the petition that I witnessed were my wife and my daughter, who's sitting behind me. So I hope those signatures will not be challenged by anybody.
Got it. I don't think they will be. I think they meet the criteria of eligibility. And just how would you handle a potential conflict if there were one, if you were a witness or a signer or other issue that might come before the board where there would be a perceived conflict, being that we are in the thick of the election cycle and obviously you couldn't have been predicted this was going to happen, so potentially may have done any of those things.
Sure. Well, certainly in any situation where there's either an actual or an apparent conflict, I would seek guidance from the Board of Elections Council and ultimately recuse if there is an issue. I do serve on some committees on vacancies of candidates, so I understand that issue, may come up in that context. However, with the possibility of this appointment pending, I intentionally did not get involved in any cleaning, binding, or submission of petitions this year, just to make sure that would not become an issue.
Got it. And in the committee of vacancies issue, you would recuse yourself as well?
Yes.
Got it. Okay. Other questions? Okay, we can take a vote. Oh, sorry. We'll excuse you and allow for public testimony. Thanks so much. I'll now open the floor to public testimony. Are there any members of the public who have signed up to testify on the recommendation of Mark Landis to serve on the Board of Elections? Seeing no one signed up, the public hearing on the recommendation to serve on the Board of Elections is now closed. Thank you, Mr. Landis. We'll now vote on the following items. Resolution 820, a resolution pursuant to Section 626 of the New York City Charter appointing Lawrence Stossel to serve on the Board of Corrections for the remainder of a 6-year term that expires on February 1st, 2029. Resolution 821, a resolution pursuant to Section 4 of the New York City Health and Hospitals Corporation Act designating Dr. Patricia Marthone to be reappointed by the mayor to sit on the Board of Health and Hospitals Corporation for the remainder of a 5-year term that expires on March 20th, 2028. A resolution pursuant to sections 31 and 192, granting the council's advice and consent to the public advocate's reappointment of Leah Goodridge as a member of the City Planning Commission to serve a 5-year term that will begin on July 1st, 2025 and expire on June 30th, 2030. A preconsidered resolution pursuant to section 3-204 of the New York State election law appointing Mark Landis to serve as the New York County Democratic Party's commissioner on the Board of Elections for the remainder of a 4-year term expiring on December 31st, 2026. And finally, we'll be voting to approve a preconsidered resolution authorizing the Speaker to take legal action on behalf of the Council of City of New York to defend against the Adams administration's violation of sanctuary city laws and the Trump administration's attack on the City of New York. Do you want to say anything about that?
Well, just briefly, this resolution is going to handle the executive order. I strongly ask that my colleagues vote aye.
Thank you. Do any members of the committee have questions before we proceed? I'll now call upon the clerk to call the roll.
Good morning, William Martin, Committee Clerk. Roll call vote, Committee on Rules, Privileges, and Elections. All items are coupled. Chair Powers.
I vote aye. Congratulations to Mr. Landis.
Salamanca.
Aye and all.
Thank you.
Salamanca from the cheap seats.
Noise before. I was trying to keep it quiet. No, excuse me. Thank you. Ayala.
I vote aye and also would like to congratulate Mr. Landis.
Brannan.
Aye.
Brooks Powers. Brewer.
I vote aye and congratulate the entire Landis community. Thank you.
Farias.
I vote aye. Congratulations.
Hudson.
I vote aye on all and congratulations.
Sanchez.
Aye. Congratulations.
Thank you, Councilmember Sanchez. Speaker Adams.
Aye on all. Congratulations.
With a vote of 9 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and no abstentions, all items have been adopted by the committee.
Thank you. The meeting of the Committee on Rules, Privileges, and Elections is hereby adjourned.